I couldn't believe that at the advanced age Jerry Jones is, full well knowing they've won a playoff game over the last 30. I mean, they've just been irrelevant.
And you know what's going to happen.
They attend the dance, but they never actually make it to the floor.
And you know this, I know this. There's going to be a game mid-November, late November, where the Cowboys lose because they screw up something situationally, like they did against the 49ers in the playoffs 2 years in a row. And we're going to all sit there, and Jerry Jones is going to sit there and say, wow, a Bill Belichick coach team would have won this game. And then then it's going to happen again in January. And then Mike McCarthy's probably going to be out of it.
I don't have Dallas's schedule in front of me, but I don't feel like I feel like the Cowboys are primed for a clunker of a season.
Well,
their offensive line, they lost players. They don't have a great starting running back. It's Zeke Elliott. And then
they did lose Tony Pollard.
Yep,
sure.
They lose Tony Pollard. Not that he was a great shakes last year as well. CeeDee Lamb is elite. I think, if anything, he might even be underrated as far as top 10 receivers
go. And they did
go.
lose Dan Quinn, who did a great job with that defense.
Correct. And that defense also got absolutely eviscerated. Yeah. They got smoked. That was one of the most, I'd say I was not as stunned by a playoff beating, like by a playoff whooping.
Yeah.
Like I was Packers at Cowboys wild card weekend this past January, since that Saturday night either wild card or division round game where Jake Delhomme threw 6 interceptions and the Cardinals won. The Cardinals on their way to making that Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, that was 2008. Yeah.
Or January 2009,
yeah.
2008 season.
Yeah. 08 season.
I mean, that was just like he just won after another. You couldn't believe what you were watching. Like, what an absolute disaster that was. And the Packers had their way. They destroyed them. Gilmore suddenly looked a step slow.
Like, the Packers could be a team. I mentioned the Cowboys are capable of going to the NFC Championship game. The Packers and the Lions are both like.
Have I told you my dream Super Bowl that doesn't involve the Patriots?
Cincinnati, Detroit.
Close.
Okay.
I would pay top dollar to see it. Would love to see that Super Bowl.
Okay.
My dream Super Bowl, or I think the most fun Super Bowl that wouldn't involve your Patriots, and they're probably not going to go.
Yeah, Fitzy, my dream Super Bowl is the Pats versus the Pats. Go Pats.
Tom Brady comes back and plays for the 49ers. 49ers Patriots.
Yeah.
No, my dream Super Bowl, Texans Packers.
All right.
Stroud versus Love. I think that would be a
sneaky,
phenomenal game.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
I think it would be a phenomenal game. Because the Packers, like the Lions, both should have beaten the 49ers last year. And I don't believe that the Texans should have beat the Ravens in that divisional round game. However, they held ground till late in the third quarter.
That was a tie game at halftime,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
They were right there.
And now you have added Danielle Hunter. Now you have added Joe Mixon. Now you have added Steph Diggs.
And back.
And Mechie's going to be finally himself ever since he fortunately went through all of his treatments and now has a clean bill of health. Like, Texans are going to be a watch this year. I am really looking forward to, and Will Anderson's only going to get better. Like, they're going to have a rush and they can score. But as far as Dak Prescott goes, he's a hell of a corner as well. By the way, 379-37 text line. A lot of people not happy, John, that you I'm a teacher. I didn't need to hear all of this. People not too happy hearing about how much money an episode Charlie Sheen made on 2.5 Men.
Yeah. Well, in fairness,
your friends made $1 million an episode by the end.
I'm a teacher too.
See,
so,
you can appreciate the hustle and the struggle. It's real.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up was Joe Burrow. Couldn't agree more. Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that
absolutely
makes sense. I mean, especially
see him week 1 this year.
Think about it. Who? Now the Chiefs are in Patriots territory. They're the big bad Chiefs. They're going to be in it every year. Who's the one guy that's gone toe-to-toe with them in the playoffs and beat them and then done it also in the regular season? Joe Burrow.
And probably, if we're being honest, should have been able to win that other AFC championship as well.
Yeah, I mean,
that felt
a
little like,
Well, he got sacked. What was it on that final? If he doesn't get sacked there, maybe they do win. I mean, think about it. In the last
and that terrible late hit, you had to call it.
In the last 5 years, there's been 2 quarterbacks and 1 coach that have consistently given Kansas City problems. Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. The only 3 guys that have and I guess if you want to put Zach Taylor in there because he's been with Joe Burrow, fine. This is the only teams that have really consistently, I mean, San Francisco's lost them twice in the Super Bowl, I guess, and it was close.
Because Kyle Shanahan makes the wrong decisions or makes odd decisions at the biggest moment. That's
another sneaky, I know we're going to, and I'm having an ADD moment here. If they don't win the Super Bowl next year, they might want to hire Bill Belichick to get them over the top.
Could you
That
imagine?
would be pretty freaking awesome.
Could you imagine?
San Fran.
And then he calls Brady and says, we can't afford Purdy. You want to come back and win a Super Bowl?
No, he'll want to win with Purdy. Yeah, I won with Mr. Irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Look what I
he's
did.
winning.
Bill Belichick,
Yeah.
genius. He won with the guy
Yeah.
drafted last.
And then his Hall of Fame speech, he's going to walk out to the podium and just snort at everybody and turn around and walk away.
That's right. Yeah, I can confirm.
Yeah.
All right. So Joe Burrow, yes.
Yeah,
a stud,
that
but
makes
we'll
sense.
see exactly. I know he may have a contract year with T. Higgins as well. Jamar Chase looking for a bag, new running back there as well. And his surgery, that little wrist injury that he had, I keep hearing from people that it's a tough one to come back from and look the same, throw the same. Will he be the same? Because when he's on the field and when he's healthy and that offense is humming, I would take him right next to Mahomes or any other at the absolute. I think he's the quarterback who has a chance. If you're power ranking the quarterback, so they're in a pyramid and you're tiering them, it's Mahomes on the GOAT tier right now. And then the second tier is littered with some seriously talented QBs. Of all of them, the one who I feel like maybe has a chance to go stand up on that gold medal platform for a while, as of right now with Mahomes, would be Burrow if he's healthy for a full season or multiple seasons.
Yeah, I would agree. I think and if you look at Cincinnati, they lose Jesse Bates a couple years ago. Their defense was all right last year, but it wasn't quite the great defense. So Burrow's maybe they're going to need a little bit even more from him, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it could be the last year he's with T. Higgins, depending on, how that contract situation works out.
You know what's going to push him over the top? Trent Brown and Mike Gesicki.
Yeah. You know what? They're going to get they're going to get 2018 freaking Trent Brown again. That's what's going to happen.
Watch. He plays the whole season. Phenomenal.
He's awesome. Yeah.
And then somehow next year convinces another team to give him a 4-year, $80 million deal.
He goes to Arizona and then he's
exactly.
I don't have to work that hard here.
One more player before we go to break.
CJ Stroud, which you mentioned the Texans. I think that's obvious.
Where's the ceiling for this kid?
It's, I think, in that tier right below Mahomes
tier
and
2?
Burrow. Yeah.
He may make his way from tier 3 to tier 2 this season.
Yeah, I think that. And I think Jordan Love's another guy, because you mentioned the Packers as well, could sneak into that tier. I would put Stroud
Jordan
ahead of
Love
him.
might be my favorite player that doesn't play for the Patriots to watch right now.
That's high
when I was
praise.
working at a card show, you can't just call it a baseball card show anymore. A few weeks ago, I was investing in some cards for the kids, and I bought some Drake May rookies, and I bought C.J. Strouds and Jordan Loves because all the card dealers said the players that everyone was buying up, trying to speculate and get in on the lower, so that maybe in a few years their cards are worth what the Mahomes cards are worth now. Strouds and Loves, because of the way Love emerged last year and because of the way Stroud just popped from get-go. And like we talked about with their defensive additions and the offensive additions, Stroud had 4,200 yards passing, 26 passing touchdowns, 5 picks, 3 rushing touchdowns, 200 rushing yards, played 14 games. You give this kid, Steph Diggs, an improved offense, great offensive line, second year, decent schedule. I mean, a deep playoff run, if not maybe an AFC championship or bust.
And he's in a division where I think the Titans are going to be bad. The Colts, we don't know if Anthony Richardson's going to be fully healthy, how good he's going to be.
What's your over-under on how many games he plays this year?
8.
I was going to say
11. 8.5, I guess, technically.
Yeah, I was going to go 10.5.
Yeah.
That's why they signed Flacco to be his backup.
He looks so dynamic, but he's also, his last year in college at Florida, I think his completion percentage was below 50%, or was 54. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. He needs a little work there.
He definitely needs some work there. Yeah. But to me, Stroud you're right. He could definitely enter the chat, if you will, and become part of that tier 2, that second tier of great quarterbacks as well. All right, we're a couple players into ESPN's list of the people, the personnel, the coaches, the players that could most significantly affect the NFL over the rest of the year, the coming calendar year and season to come, which, of course, begins September the 5th.